The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Aspire Counseling Services. Call 829-7300. Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at noon.
Good afternoon, I'm Alex Fisher. A new compensation program has been established for minors sexually abused by priests. 6 Catholic dioceses, including the Diocese of Fresno, which includes Kern County, announced the new program today. Named Independent Compensation Program for Victims, Survivors of Sexual Abuse of Minors by Priests is independent from church control. Private mediators will design and administer the program, and an oversight board will oversee its implementation. The Diocese of Fresno says regardless of when the abuse occurred, victims can apply for compensation beginning later this year. The diocese will reach out to those who have previously reported allegations of abuse to inform them of the new program. This all comes during an ongoing investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct against Monsignor Craig Harrison. Investigations continue in Firebaugh and Merced, where Harrison served in the past, after abuse allegations were reported last month. Well, you may have smelled or seen the smoke towering over central Bakersfield, and this was the reason why. Fire officials say a garage caught fire earlier this morning on 8th Street between N and P Streets. That's about 5 blocks south of Maya Cinemas. Fire crews quickly responded to and stopped the spread of flames from spreading to other structures, including an abandoned home. One person was injured in the fire and taken to the hospital, although their condition is unknown. An early morning high-speed chase ended with the driver arrested in South Bakersfield. Here's a look at where the police chase came to an end around 5 a.m. near Cottonwood and Bradshaw. The sheriff's office says this all started near the intersection of Chester Avenue and Columbus Street. Deputies tried to pull over a car with code violations, but the driver didn't stop, according to police. At times, speeds reached over 100 miles per hour. At the end of the chase, deputies arrested 48-year-old Elroy Browning on numerous charges. No one was injured during this pursuit. A truck driver was injured after flipping his big rig in northwest Bakersfield early this morning. It happened around 440 on 7 Standard Road, just west of Galpin Street. CHP says the driver was pinned inside the cab. County firefighters had to extricate the driver, who was hurt, but we still don't know the extent of his injuries. Comedic actor Tim Conway has died at the age of 85. If Conway is best known for one thing, it's his time on The Carol Burnett Show. For the show's first 8 seasons, he was just a frequent guest, then became a regular in the show's 9th season because fans loved him and so did the cast. According to Conway, he had no professional training, but what he did have was a sense of humor. He won 6 Emmy Awards, 4 for his work on The Carol Burnett Show, and 2 for guest starring roles on Coach and 30 Rock. In 2002, Tim Conway was inducted into the TV Academy Hall of Fame alongside his Carol Burnett Show co-star Harvey Korman. Conway appeared in about a dozen films, but it's the medium of television that made him a star. Last year, it was revealed that Conway had a brain surgery and was suffering from dementia. So definitely mourning a great legend, of course, today. All right, thanks so much, Kev. In the wake of its worst day in 4 months, eyes are on Wall Street today. The Dow closing down more than 600 points yesterday amid the escalating trade war with China. And today, the Dow is up about 300 points. Peter Alexander has more.
A brutal day on Wall Street for the bulls.
This morning, Wall Street remains rattled with stocks plummeting amid escalating trade fears, posting some of the biggest one-day losses this year.
A sharp and broad pullback for stocks really across the board. Look at that. Ouch.
The sell-off as China retaliates on $60 billion in U.S. goods, largely targeting the agriculture industry, pledging to increase tariffs from 10 to 25% on June 1st. A response to President Trump's tariff hike on $200 billion in Chinese imports. Among those hardest hit, tech companies like Intel and Apple, plus major manufacturers like Caterpillar and Boeing, whose sales and production rely heavily on U.S.-China trade. Their stocks dropping dramatically on the news. The president digging in, pressing companies to build their products here.
We don't have to pay any tariffs if you're a manufacturer in this country. You pay nothing. Open your division or open up your product, have it made in this country as opposed to made in China.
Claiming the U.S. significantly benefits from tariffs on China.
We're taking in billions of dollars of tariffs, and those tariffs are going to be tremendously, if you look at what we've done thus far with China. We've never taken in 10 cents until I got elected. Now we're taking in billions and billions.
But ignoring the cost paid by American companies passed on to consumers, a point acknowledged Sunday by his top economic advisor.
In fact, both sides will pay. Both sides will pay in these things.
Democrats on the campaign trail looking to capitalize.
The only people that are paying the price are farmers and working people right now. He's going about it all the wrong way. Out of bravado, no action.
That was Peter Alexander reporting. The pool of Democrats looking to make their way to the White House in 2020 just keeps getting bigger. Earlier this morning, Montana Governor Steve Bullock has announced he's running for president. He is the 22nd Democrat to throw his hat into the ring. In a video posted online, Bullock outlined a campaign to take on money in politics and push progressive policies from his red state perspective. He is the only statewide elected official to win a state that President Trump carried in 2016. That fact is a key part of Bullock's campaign. He's telling voters he's succeeded as a Democrat in a state that leans solidly Republican, making him an ideal person to take on President Trump. During his time in office, Bullock pushed expanded Medicaid insurance in Montana through a Republican-led legislature. The Auburn Community Services District is getting a big boost to help provide people with clean water. The State Water Resources Board has loaned the district more than $14 million. That money will go toward a clean water project. It will consist of 3 new wells, a 1 million gallon storage tank with a booster pump, and new sewer lines. The district says this project has been 10 years in the making. Groundbreaking for the project is set for 6 p.m. on Thursday at the corner of Sycamore Road and Walnut Drive out in Arvin. Well, it's a chance for officials to explain just how much local law enforcement is enforcing state laws aimed at protecting both immigrants and public safety. These Truth Act community forums are held all around the state. California law says agencies and local governments must be transparent about how they work with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The first forum in Kern County happened back in December. The second one started last night at a special Board of Supervisors meeting and continued today at this morning's regular meeting. We'll have more coming up tonight at 5. Bakersfield Police will be cracking down on people driving under the influence. The department plans to conduct a DUI and driver license checkpoint from 6 to midnight tonight at an undisclosed location within Bakersfield city limits. People caught driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol can face jail time, fines, and expenses up to $10,000. Police say announcing checkpoints ahead of time is an effective deterrent. It helps reduce DUI-related crashes by up to 20%. Thousands of Kern County high school seniors are set to receive their diplomas this month, and the Garces Rams are kicking off graduation season tonight. Their ceremony is slated for 7:30 at the Rabobank Convention Center. And most of the students in the Kern High School District will graduate in 2 weeks on May 29th, 30th, and 31st. We've posted a list of all of the commencements. You can find it on our website, kget.com. Just click on the hot link icon. Welcome back. An NTSB GO team is headed to Alaska to investigate a suspected mid-air collision of 2 small sightseeing planes that killed at least 5 people. NBC's Gotti Schwartz has more.
A dream flight for a group of tourists ending in tragedy following a mid-air collision. This Otter float plane, filmed just days ago and operated by Taquan Air, was taking cruise ship passengers on a day trip along Alaska's coastline when it suddenly collided with another single-engine seaplane carrying sightseers.
The de Havilland Otter that went into the water, that aircraft is found fairly intact. The de Havilland Beaver, on the other hand, has a debris field of about 2,600 feet long.
All of the passengers on both planes were vacationing on this Princess cruise line. The Coast Guard and nearby boats rushing to pull survivors from the waters in scenic George Inlet near Ketchikan, where the mid-air collision occurred. Taquan Air issuing a statement overnight saying they've suspended all flights and are devastated by the news, adding, "We are in the midst of an active crisis response." Based on FAA reports, the Beaver plane is owned by Mountain Air Service, which has not commented on the crash. The Royal Princess cruise ship continuing overnight to Juneau, Alaska. Heartbroken passengers on board describing the atmosphere as very somber. Adventurous excursions ending with tragic consequences.
NTSB is now trying to figure out whether those pilots saw each other before this collision happened. Back to you.
Hi, I'm Scott with Aspire. I want to personally thank Kern County for trusting Aspire with being a part of your family's recovery. At Aspire Counseling Services, we take this opportunity very seriously and would be honored for your continued support. Call us today.
Welcome back now in your 17 Business Watch and checking stocks. The Dow right now is up 301 points. NASDAQ is up 118 and the S&P 500 is up 36. Meantime, checking oil prices. West Texas Intermediate is at $61.76 a barrel and Midway Sunset is at $67.54 a barrel. Twitter users may want to check their privacy settings. The social media platform has admitted it may have accidentally collected and shared some location data from users. Twitter says it discovered a bug in a portion of the iOS user base, which may be to blame. Users with more than one account were most likely affected, particularly the ones who used the precise location feature in one account. Twitter says the data could not be used to determine an address or precise movements. The company confirmed no location data was retained by the partner and only existed in their systems for a short time. The bug has since been fixed. The U.S.-China trade rift deepened Monday after China pledged to impose retaliatory tariffs on nearly $60 billion on American goods. This sent small businesses reeling, with many of these tariffs directly impacting their production. And as CNBC's Contessa Brewer reports, the cost of these new measures may ultimately be passed along to you, the American consumer.
A long line of products facing a long list of tariffs. Strato designs and manufactures equipment for the railroad and transportation industry, but the tariffs are derailing plans for growth. Many of the finished parts are made in China and sent to the U.S. They were just slapped with a tariff increase, now totaling 25%. It will cost this small company in central New Jersey $14 million over 15 months. These parts will equip San Francisco's public transit system, known as BART. It will pick up the additional cost of the tariffs, which means taxpayers and riders are footing the bill. Strato is hiking prices as much as 10% and passing that along to its railroad customers.
It forces the railroads to do is pass the costs on to the shippers. The shippers have to pass the cost on to the consumer, and that's every one of us.
Like thousands of other American businesses, Strato is searching for ways to cut costs as it absorbs the rest of the tariff impact. Its workforce has declined 10%. And employees here are worried because their bonuses depend on the company's growth. And Strato has significantly slowed its expansion.
We've invested about $30 million in the last 5 years in new product development. We are pulling that way back at this point in time.
Those stuck in the middle of a global trade war are just hoping that something will spark a change. In Piscataway, New Jersey, Contessa Brewer, CNBC Business News.
Welcome back. A storied season for the Condors has come to an end. After winning in double overtime Saturday night, the Condors needed a win again last night. The San Diego Gulls got things started early, scoring several goals in the first period. Bakersfield entered the second down 3-1. 18 teams have come back from a 3-1 deficit in the Calder Cup playoffs, but the Condors just weren't able to pull it off, falling 6-2 to the Gulls.
As a whole, it was a really good season. Definitely all improved from last year as individuals and as an organization and as a group. So
set out to make the community of Bakersfield proud of us. And while we fell short of our ultimate goal, I believe that we accomplished the goal of revitalizing hockey in Bakersfield and putting this team on the map and also making that community proud of us.
This was Woodcroft's first season coaching the Condors. He joined the team about this time last year, and this is what he had to say last May about getting to the after party.
But I'm clear on my mandate, which is to develop players, but to do so in a winning environment. I think that's so key for what we're trying to do here in Bakersfield. And rest assured that we will ice a team that this community can be proud of.
The Gulls will now play Chicago in the Western Conference Finals. The winner of that series will go on to represent the Western Conference in the Calder Cups. Despite the tough final loss of the season, fans in Bakersfield decked out in orange and blue, gathered to cheer on their home team. 17's Karen Watt has more.
While some fans streamed the game online at AHL TV, fans came out en masse to Trackhouse, the only place in Bakersfield that broadcasted the game publicly. A sea of blue and orange bursting with Bakersfield pride.
They represent not only Bakersfield, they represent the Central Valley.
The game had fans on the edge of their seats for the make-it-or-break-it moment of the AHL Calder Cup playoffs.
This is a record year. It's been a long time. The last 2 years we didn't even make playoffs.
How does it feel to watch the Condors go so far this year?
It feels great. I mean, it's been a long time since we've been in this situation, and I wish I was in San Diego watching the game live.
For those who couldn't make it to the away game, the watch party brought together fans young and old, including the famous Dancin' Granny.
Okay, you gotta take a photo with me. It was great to have this whole house just full of people. Every time they scored, everybody roared. You heard the noise.
To come and share with the others that are here for the same reason. This is awesome.
Though the game ultimately ended with a loss, this record Condors season was still a win for Bakersfield.
We had a really good run, so hopefully we can do better next season.
Win or lose, congratulations Condors on an incredible season. I'm Karen Hua, 17 News.
Welcome back. Money can't buy love, but in this case, well, it may.
Yeah, take a look at this. Billboards are popping up around Salt Lake City asking, who wants to marry an LDS millionaire? LDS is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or the Mormon Church. One millionaire member turning to a matchmaker to find his true love. His identity? Secret. With LDS matchmaker Amy Stevens dropping just a few details, sharing he's between 31 and 45 years old, 6'1", and tall, dark, and handsome. So, the question everyone wants answered, what's wrong with them?
He's very busy. He does have time for a relationship, but he doesn't have a lot of time to find dates.
You can visit ldsmatchmaker.com for contact information in case you're looking for a millionaire.
Yeah.
Very interesting, isn't it?
Very interesting on the billboard.
I think there's a song called Can't Buy Me Love.
Yeah, there is.
There is, yeah. All right, thanks so much for joining us for the News at Noon.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Aspire Counseling Services. Call 829-7300.